Williams has a record deal with Atlanta rapper Gucci Mane under the new 1017 record label. And after back and forth from the prosecution and the defense, the federal judge said that she found probable cause in the alleged kidnapping and robbery charges that Williams Jr. faces and involving Atlanta rapper Gucci Mane.
Pooh Shiesty has just been denied bond, and the atmosphere inside that packed federal courtroom was nothing short of tense. According to a reporter sitting right behind him, the moment a federal agent started laying out the accusations, the entire mood in the room shifted almost instantly. As each allegation was read out loud, kidnapping, robbery, and possession of a weapon, Pooh Shiesty was seen shaking his head repeatedly, clearly showing he didn't agree with what was being said. But despite his reactions, the situation didn't change at all. The judge looked him straight in the eyes and made it very clear there were no options left. No house arrest, no ankle monitor, no bond, nothing. She basically stated that every possible chance had already been considered, and at this point, there was nothing else she could offer. Right now, he's being held in a federal cell, and based on what came out during that hearing, things are looking extremely serious. We're talking about the possibility of decades behind bars. Federal time, not state time, which means much stricter conditions and very limited chances for early release.
A federal judge ordered Memphis rapper Lontrell Williams Jr., who goes by Pooh Shiesty, to stay in custody after federal officials brought kidnapping and robbery charges against him.
Fox 4's Stephen Dial was in the courtroom today. He is outside tonight with more details on what happened.
And what makes this situation even more shocking is the timing. He had only recently been released. He already served 3 years on earlier charges and walked out in October 2025 wearing an ankle monitor. But prosecutors now claim that after regaining his freedom, he allegedly became involved in planning a robbery and kidnapping targeting the CEO of his own label, the same person who helped launch his career, Gucci Mane. After the hearing, Gucci Mane's lawyer spoke directly to reporters and questioned the entire situation. He pointed out that there was no contract, no recording footage of any signing, no weapons recovered, no jewelry found, none of the physical evidence people expected. Still, the judge ruled there was enough probable cause to move forward, and now Pooh Shiesty remains locked up with no clear path out. So, let's break down everything that led here, because what came out in that courtroom has people talking heavily. The defense is already pushing back hard, and the conversation hasn't slowed down since April 1st.
Steve, I sat directly behind Lontrell Williams Jr., who you guys said goes by the rap name Pooh Shiesty, for the entire hearing in the very small, tightly packed courtroom. And after back and forth from the prosecution and the defense, the federal judge said that she found probable cause in the alleged kidnapping and robbery charges that Williams Jr. faces and involving Atlanta rapper Gucci Mane. And as the FBI special agent was giving testimony, I could see Williams Jr. shaking his head multiple times in disagreement with all of the allegations being laid out against him. This incident happened back in January, and federal officials actually charged and arrested multiple individuals, including Williams' father and another rapper known as Big 30 and other suspects.
Things have been escalating non-stop, and there's a lot to unpack. To really understand how it reached this point, you have to go back, way back. Pooh Shiesty, real name Lontrell Williams Jr., is a Memphis rapper who rose to fame under Gucci Mane's 1017 label. Gucci gave him that major spotlight, and Shiesty fully capitalized on it. His hit track, Back in Blood, blew up, and the whole Shiesty season run had serious momentum. For a moment, he was one of the biggest names in the game. But here's where things started to shift. In 2021, he caught a federal firearms case out of Miami tied to an incident at a Bay Harbor Islands hotel that left multiple people injured. He later pleaded guilty to a firearms conspiracy charge and was sentenced to 63 months. That's over 5 years. In reality, he served around 3 years before being released in October 2025. Once out, he was placed on an ankle monitor with strict conditions, no weapons, and no involvement in illegal activity.
Williams has a record deal with Atlanta rapper Gucci Mane under the new 1017 record label. The FBI says that Pooh Shiesty pointed an AK-style pistol while demanding to be released from his contract. Investigators say that they were able to track Williams from his ankle monitor and photos suspects allegedly posted on social media. In court, Williams Jr. legal team argued that there's many holes in the FBI's narrative of what happened.
We didn't hear today is there is no contract, this mystery contract. They have no contract. They have no video of this alleged signing of a contract. They have no guns. They have no jewelry. They have none of that physical evidence. What they have is they have allegedly 5 individuals, one of them being a very well-known individual that is allegedly cooperating with the government and making these allegations against my client in many ways.
These were basic rules, exactly the kind you'd expect someone fresh out after 3 years to follow without slipping. But according to federal prosecutors, that's not what happened. They claimed that just months after his release, Pooh Shiesty allegedly got pulled into something that could change everything for him in the worst possible way. By that point, tensions between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane had reportedly been building for a while. There were ongoing rumors about contract disputes, and reports suggested Shiesty wanted out of his deal with 1017 Records. Things were getting increasingly tense. Social media posts looked suspicious, industry chatter kept growing, and insiders could feel something was off. Still, nobody expected it to escalate like this. Here's where the story takes a sharp turn. On January 10, 2026, Gucci Mane and 2 associates flew to Dallas, Texas. They believed they were heading to a business meeting at a recording studio, a professional sit-down to discuss contract issues and resolve ongoing problems between Gucci and Shiesty.
Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol and forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at the remaining conspirators displayed firearms and robbed the other victims of Rolex watches, jewelry, cash, and other high-value items.
But according to federal prosecutors, the entire meeting was allegedly arranged under false pretenses from the start. The federal affidavit lays out a version of events that sounds almost unbelievable. Gucci Mane and his 2 associates walked into that Dallas studio expecting a business discussion, unaware of what was allegedly waiting inside. Pooh Shiesty was there. His father, Lontrell Williams Sr., was there. Memphis rapper Big 30, real name Rodney Wright Jr., was there too. And according to federal authorities, at least 6 more individuals were inside the studio, some reportedly traveling from Memphis specifically for this moment. That already raised major questions. Now here's where it gets serious. Prosecutors claim Pooh Shiesty allegedly asked to speak with Gucci Mane privately in one of the recording rooms, just the 2 of them, along with his father and Big 30. That setup alone already raised eyebrows. Pulling your label head into a closed room with your inner circle doesn't look like a normal business move.
This year, 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas for a scheduled business meeting. Lontrell Williams Jr. arranged this meeting purportedly to discuss the terms of his recording contract with one of the victims. As alleged, once these 3 men were inside the recording studio, Williams Jr. and 8 co-conspirators, several of whom traveled from Memphis, Tennessee, executed.
And according to the affidavit, once that door closed, things escalated quickly. Pooh Shiesty allegedly presented contract termination papers and instructed Gucci Mane to sign them. When Gucci refused and tension rose, prosecutors claim Shiesty then displayed what appeared to be an AK-style firearm to pressure him into signing. That moment changed everything. But it didn't end there. Authorities allege that after the documents were signed, Gucci Mane was then stripped of personal belongings including his wedding ring, watch, earrings, and cash. When they returned to the main studio area, things reportedly escalated even further. Prosecutors say other individuals allegedly pointed weapons at the remaining people in the room. One person, identified in court documents only as MM, was reportedly placed in a chokehold and nearly lost consciousness. Big 30 is also alleged to have stood by the door, blocking any exit and preventing anyone from leaving. Take a moment to process that, because according to federal prosecutors, this wasn't random chaos. It was described as a coordinated situation involving multiple armed individuals, blocked exits, physical force, and signed documents under pressure.
Further in the complaint, within hours of leaving the Dallas studio, a number of the defendants were on social media displaying some of the items that appeared to be the jewelry that had been robbed.
They're officially calling it a federal kidnapping case, and the charges carry extremely serious consequences. This is not a minor accusation at all, and it gets even more complex when you look at the planning claims. According to federal investigators, several of the individuals allegedly traveled from Memphis to Dallas specifically for this meeting. That detail suggests planning, not spontaneity. Prosecutors argue this wasn't just a dispute that got out of control, it was something pre-planned. Think about it. People allegedly booking flights, crossing state lines, and arriving prepared. Meanwhile, Gucci Mane came in expecting a professional meeting about business and contracts. But according to the government's version, what he walked into was something entirely different. After January 10th, rumors spread quickly. Conversations exploded online, but federal authorities didn't move immediately. They took their time, building the case over nearly 3 months. And one key detail made things even more serious. Pooh Shiesty was on an ankle monitor the entire time. That monitoring allegedly placed him at the Dallas studio on January 10th, giving investigators precise location data tied directly to the timeline. That kind of evidence carries major weight in federal cases. Then, on April 1st, 2026, everything escalated. Federal agents executed a search and arrest warrant at the Williams family home in Cordova, Tennessee, near Memphis. Law enforcement presence was heavy, with officials moving in and out of the property for hours. Reports even mentioned tactical devices being used during the operation, adding to the intensity of the scene. Pooh Shiesty was taken into custody at the home, and his father was also detained. Across multiple cities, Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville, 8 of the 9 individuals linked to the case were arrested the same day. The 9th was later captured in Atlanta. In total, 9 people are now facing federal charges connected to what allegedly happened inside that Dallas studio. Prosecutors also claim some individuals shared images online after the incident, adding further attention to the case. Authorities say those posts helped strengthen parts of their investigation. Now fast forward to April 8, 2026. That's when the bond hearing took place in Dallas federal court. His legal team arrived ready to fight the allegations. He's represented by 3 attorneys, including Bradford Cohen, known for handling high-profile cases. Inside the courtroom, a reporter noted that Pooh Shiesty reacted to nearly every statement from the agent. As the allegations were read, he repeatedly shook his head, clearly disagreeing with what was being presented. You could feel the weight of the moment as the government laid out a case that could define the rest of his life. Outside the courtroom, his lawyers pushed back hard. Cohen told reporters the delay in charges may suggest inconsistencies in witness statements. That's a major claim, implying the case may not be as solid as it appears. He also revealed that 5 individuals are reportedly cooperating with investigators, including one well-known figure making allegations against Shiesty, though no names were confirmed, fueling even more speculation. Another attorney, Bob Helms, also strongly challenged the government's narrative. He broke down how, on the surface, everything might look simple, but in the music industry, situations are often way more layered than they appear. The defense is clearly pushing the idea that this case is not as straightforward as federal prosecutors are presenting it, and this is exactly where they began hitting back at key claims. Cohen laid it out very directly. He stated there is no contract, the very document prosecutors claim Gucci Mane was allegedly pressured to sign. According to the defense, that contract still hasn't even been produced. No footage of any signing, no weapons recovered, no jewelry found, none of the physical evidence people would normally expect in a case like this. Cohen told reporters that, in his opinion, the case is mostly relying on witness statements, and those statements may come with personal motivations attached. That's a major angle the defense is leaning into right now. And it gets even more surprising. During testimony, authorities admitted they have not interviewed Gucci Mane or the other alleged individuals labeled as victims. The Dallas Police Department first responded back in January, and even now, federal investigators confirmed full interviews still haven't been completed. That detail alone raises serious questions. Think about it. The people at the center of this case haven't fully spoken to federal agents, yet charges are already moving forward. The defense is expected to heavily use this point as they continue fighting the case. But when it came to the bond decision, none of these arguments changed the outcome. Judge Renee Harris focused on the bigger picture. She took into account that Pooh Shiesty was already on supervised release when these alleged events took place. The judge reviewed every condition the court had already imposed and reached a firm conclusion. Based on what was presented, he allegedly violated those conditions, and her response was clear. She told Pooh Shiesty, "I can't find any condition to offer that hasn't already been granted to you." That statement carried weight. The court had already allowed house arrest. An ankle monitor was already in place. Multiple chances had already been given for him to remain free under supervision. And now, based on the allegations, the judge was essentially saying there was nothing left to offer. From her perspective, every option had already been exhausted. So, the decision became clear. Bond denied. Prosecutors also argued there's credible evidence suggesting the meeting with Gucci Mane was arranged under false pretenses. That shifts the narrative away from something spontaneous and towards something they believe was planned in advance. In the official detention order, the judge stated that based on the evidence presented, the court found probable cause connected to the charges. That means he remains in custody. No bail, no house arrest, no release conditions at all. And this case isn't affecting Pooh Shiesty alone. Others tied to it are feeling the pressure too. His father, Troll Williams Sr., was initially granted a $250,000 bond with a $25,000 cash requirement by a Memphis judge and placed on house arrest, but federal prosecutors quickly pushed back. They moved to have that bond taken away, arguing the situation was far too serious for any release. From their perspective, this wasn't a one-person case. It was a coordinated situation involving multiple individuals, and they weren't taking any chances. At the same time, the spotlight on everyone connected to the case kept growing. Each new court detail added more pressure, and it became clear the situation wasn't slowing down. The government continues building its case piece by piece, insisting the evidence supports their claims. Meanwhile, the defense is standing firm, challenging every angle, questioning the timeline, the lack of physical evidence, and how the investigation has been handled so far. This is shaping up to be a serious legal battle, with both sides refusing to back down. And looking ahead, things could get even more intense. If this case goes to trial, every detail, from witness statements to digital tracking data, will be placed under a microscope. What reportedly started behind closed doors in a recording studio has now turned into a major federal case, drawing widespread attention. Prosecutors argue he could be a flight risk and a danger to the community, and they didn't hold back. They claim Williams Sr. wasn't just minimally involved. They say he played a major role in planning and carrying out the situation, even allegedly arranging equipment used during the incident. Because of that, a judge ordered him transferred to Dallas, and his bond was officially revoked. Big 30 is facing a similar situation. A Tennessee judge initially set his bond at $100,000, but the government immediately stepped in and paused that decision. Then, a Texas district court judge ruled that Big 30 would remain in custody and be moved to Texas. Now, both sides are preparing arguments over his release, with filing deadlines already in place. Zooming out, you've got Pooh Shiesty denied bond, his father's release revoked, and Big 30 still in custody. Federal authorities are sending a very clear message. They are not allowing anyone tied to this case to walk free easily. Every individual involved is being treated as a serious concern when it comes to release decisions. And when you step back, this goes far beyond one case. The charges carry extremely heavy consequences. If convicted on all counts, defendants could face life in federal prison. Federal conviction rates are over 90%, and sentences typically require serving at least 85% of the time with no parole. That means if Pooh Shiesty is convicted, he could be facing a very long time behind bars. And that reality makes everything even more serious. What stands out even more is the timing. He had only recently been released after serving about 3 years for a previous firearms case. He came out with a chance to rebuild his career, reputation, and future in music. The industry was watching closely, and fans were waiting to see his next move. But according to prosecutors, within just months of his release, he was allegedly tied to a situation involving a record deal dispute. That's what makes this case even heavier. It reportedly stems from business disagreements that may have escalated. Now, no one outside that room knows exactly what happened. That's for the courts to decide. The defense is already pointing to major issues they plan to challenge, including the missing contract, lack of interviews with key individuals, and alleged inconsistent statements. With an experienced attorney like Bradford Cohen involved, this fight is far from over. But on the other side, prosecutors don't bring cases like this unless they believe they have strong evidence. With 9 defendants, coordinated arrests across multiple states, electronic monitoring data, and alleged social media activity under review, this is shaping up to be a major federal case. And for Pooh Shiesty, it's even more complicated because he was already under federal supervision with his location being tracked in real time. If the allegations are true, it would mean a serious offense allegedly happened while he was being monitored, one of the toughest positions a defendant can face. Public opinion is now completely split. Some people are questioning Gucci Mane's involvement, even suggesting possible cooperation with investigators. Social media has been flooded with accusations, and the snitch label has been trending non-stop. But stepping back for a moment, if someone claims they were threatened, pressured, had belongings taken, and were forced into signing something, while others were allegedly being overpowered, the question becomes deeper than labels. Is he the claimant? Is he the victim? That's the question everyone keeps going back and forth on. This debate has been non-stop, and there's really no simple answer, especially with how layered situations like this can get. Different people are seeing it from completely opposite angles, and that's exactly why the conversation keeps growing online. Now here's another twist. Pooh Shiesty's lawyer, Bradford Cohen, made a statement that's got people talking. He hinted that a well-known figure might be cooperating with the government. He didn't drop any names, but that didn't stop people from quickly trying to read between the lines. And if that cooperation ends up playing a major role in the case, the defense is definitely not going to sit back. They're expected to challenge it hard, questioning motives, possible personal conflicts, and any underlying business tension. That alone is shaping up to be a major courtroom battle. At the same time, there's another group of voices saying Pooh Shiesty brought this situation on himself, that he had other options and didn't have to let things escalate this far. They point out that artists have lawyers, managers, and entertainment attorneys whose entire job is to help navigate or even get out of difficult contracts. And honestly, that point does carry weight too. The music industry has a long history of artists feeling trapped in contracts they're unhappy with. But even then, legal paths still exist to challenge those deals properly. The real question becomes whether Pooh Shiesty actually felt those options were available to him, or if pressure, frustration, and past experiences pushed everything into a direction that couldn't be reversed. That's something only the full story can truly clarify. What isn't up for debate, though, is where things stand right now. He is currently in federal custody with no bond, facing charges that could take away some of his most important years, maybe even more. His father is also in custody, along with multiple co-defendants, and the case hasn't even reached trial yet. That's a heavy situation any way you look at it. It really makes people think about the what-ifs. What if he had waited it out? What if lawyers had handled the contract disputes? What if the focus had stayed on music while the business side was sorted properly? Because the talent was never the question. Tracks like Back in Blood showed exactly what he was capable of, and that level of impact doesn't happen every day. During the Shiesty season run, he was at a point most artists only dream of reaching. He had a strong fan base behind him, and after his release, the momentum was there. Labels were watching, collaborations were lining up, and all he really had to do was stay focused, follow his supervised release conditions, and give it time. If that had happened, he could have taken full control of his future. New deals, his own label, even a completely independent route. The options were wide open. But according to federal authorities, things didn't go that way. They allege he made choices that escalated a business dispute instead of resolving it through legal channels. Now, the same federal system that allowed his release is deciding what happens next, and the stakes couldn't be higher. We're talking years, potentially even decades, depending on how this plays out. And this case is far from over. The defense is lining up key arguments: the missing contract, the lack of direct interviews, and the claims about a cooperating witness. All of that is expected to become central in court. If this goes to trial, it could easily turn into one of the most talked about legal battles in hip-hop. But right now, Pooh Shiesty remains in a federal holding facility. No bond, no release conditions, and no clear path out before trial. And as the case continues to unfold, more details are expected to surface, each one potentially shifting how the entire situation is viewed. Court filings, witness statements, and new evidence could all change the direction in a major way. At this point, both sides are clearly preparing for a long legal war. The prosecution is focused on building a detailed, strong case, while the defense is getting ready to challenge every claim and expose any weak points they can find. That back and forth is only going to intensify from here. There's also growing attention on how this case could affect everyone involved outside the courtroom. Careers, reputations, and future opportunities are all on the line, and the outcome could leave a long-lasting impact. That's exactly why so many people are watching closely. At the center of it all, Pooh Shiesty is still waiting, everything hanging in the balance. No bond, no release, just time passing while the case builds. His father remains in custody as well, and co-defendants are being held across different federal facilities. Meanwhile, the government is assembling what they believe is a strong case, one that could keep all 9 defendants locked up for a very long time. That's the reality as it stands today. So the big question is, what do you think? Can the defense create enough doubt to fight this case, or is Pooh Shiesty looking at serious consequences here? Opinions are all over the place. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new here, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any updates, because this case is nowhere near finished and there's still a lot more to come. Stay tuned.